Hello, my name's Ben Uffindell, and I'm here outside the new Sky City Convention Centre, which, after a $600 cost blowout, will now only be able to host parties of 7. Today, we're going to be talking about the most quintessential symbol of New Zealand's identity, other than the mess you'd find in a rural tavern at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning. The flag, our flag, New Zealand's flag, Aotearoa. We'll also be showing you 12 simple recipes you can make with just a kiwi and other common items you might find in your fridge. There comes a time in every country's history where its citizens get that vague tingling feeling in their stomachs that pundits call the mood for change, but is actually just gastroenteritis or something worse that should be attended to immediately. The mood, which is collectively experienced by all of the people at the same time, particularly during an epidemic, usually leads to some kind of dramatic overhaul of society. This could mean the changing of an electoral system, allowing non-white people to do things, or, when the public is particularly lazy, changing the nation's flag. In 2011, Libya changed its flag from nothing but green to this depiction of Pac-Man, bringing in large sponsorship dollars from Namco. In 1917, Thailand changed its flag to the same colours as all the successful nations, but it didn't help. And most famously, in 1940, France changed its flag to a completely white flag, first flown in Paris on June 14th. Today, New Zealand finds itself in the midst of a debate about whether or not to change our flag, in an elaborate 10-step colouring in competition and referendum process proposed by Prime Minister John Key. The process was initially criticised for being too convoluted, but Key says that it ultimately couldn't be any more simple, and expressed his opinion that most New Zealanders would agree that a referendum is a national plebiscite, occasionally binding, about an issue of significance. Key argued that changing the flag would help to solve a common misunderstanding where people regularly mistook New Zealand's flag for another, the flag of Brazil, which also contains the Southern Cross. It was a compelling argument, not least of all because it could fit in a tweet, and Key believed strongly that in winning this argument, he would secure his legacy. For he knew that switching this piece of cloth for another piece of cloth would undoubtedly make New Zealand the most successful nation in the history of Aotearoa. And so the flag referendum process was set in motion. Come 2016, New Zealand would have a new flag and would become the envy of the entire world. It all looked to be going so well, but suddenly, disaster. The flag consideration panel, tasked with selecting potential alternatives from those submitted by the public, returns to Key and informs him that he can't have a flag featuring 12 silver ferns, a meat pie, a rugby ball, and a kiwi eating the Resource Management Act. The Prime Minister is devastated, but it gets worse. A screening process designed to weed out public flag submissions that contain penises has reduced the number of submissions from 12,000 to just 15, from which a long list of 40 must now be created. When it comes time for the shortlist to be released, a misprint sees the same flag on it twice, but because no one at the panel is willing to own up to a mistake at the photocopier, it remains that way, and before long, a swastika has been added to the shortlist.
And that's what people will do with that design.
But how did this happen? And where did John Key and the flag consideration panel go so wrong? We spoke to one of the more than 5 psychics and mediums that documents show were hired to guide the panel through their selection process. Now this flag, not sure what the name is. I wanted to see how she would evaluate what I told her were legitimate submissions to be considered by the panel.
Okay. I'm feeling these 2 lines here. That's quite an interesting symbol to me. And the first thing that jumps out to me about that is that it looks like the North and the South Island, doesn't it? And for once they're finally together alongside one another. So I quite like this flag actually. I'm sensing a very positive vibe from it.
This flag, it's another take on the Southern Cross. See the cross running here as a cross.
So this is a legitimate entry.
Yes.
Is the new design?
Yes. It's one of the new designs submitted to the commission.
The eye is immediately drawn to the centre star. Okay.
Why do you think that in all these designs we draw things like diagonal lines and constellations, things we don't normally think of, instead of drawing something perhaps more New Zealand, like a moa taking its shoes off at a marae?
Right. Hey, guys, I was just going to say, it was 150 for the first hour, but I didn't realise you were going to bring all of these guys here, so that's going to extend it, that's all.
But maybe we're overthinking it. One Auckland man has been waiting for this day for his entire life, campaigning for over 40 years to change the flag from its current design to the same design, but with the lines of the Union Jack being ever so slightly thicker.
Perhaps, in the end, it really is that simple.